This is Meredith, as you can see, Vieira, and the producer. She, oddly enough, I'm going to turn the sound off. Oddly enough, this is about mass shootings, and they're saying they don't know what made them happen. I stand here appalled. She has done a documentary, and I think I haven't seen all of it. I know she was on other TV programs tomorrow promoting it. She's talking about the tower shootings at the college in Texas 50 years ago, I believe. This is one of them that I have told that was a mind control shooting. The Waco, Texas. There's a list of them. I usually put up Larry Flint, a Hustler magazine, because he was shot in Lawrenceville, Georgia, when I was doing the book about these murders that were going on then. It's invisible. It's hard to prove, mind control murders. These were done in patterns, and I put all this up. What's appalling to me is the media all knows this. You can go back to, I worked for a doctor, and this is when I knew people were being knocked off in patterns, but I didn't know the mechanism. It was mind control. Like, subliminal hypnosis with commercials. That's nothing. They can mass armies now. That's what's going on with the San Bernardino, etc. It's appalling to watch what's happened to me and to feel it and who I am. I was kidnapped and brought over here. My father's Edward VIII. I'm even afraid to say it with what's been done to me here. An imposter married Wallace Simpson. Yeah, you have this woman up there that has a documentary, and I don't even know what she's going on and saying. They're not going to mention mind control, I don't think. They're not going to mention the patterns because it would lead back to me. Absolutely. And anyway, if I sound disoriented here, maybe I have reason to be. I'm allergic to chemicals. And you've got this media. I have emailed them. I have gone to them personally when I didn't have money. I had to walk. I had to starve. I had to freeze. Larry Flint, let me get back to that because that's enough. The Wayne Williams in Atlanta was mind control murders. I even talked to his attorney, Mary Welcome, after I was almost killed down there, April Fool Day of 80. And I called her, and I was afraid she wouldn't believe me. She said, I do believe you. They put her right on the phone. Well, Wayne Williams, and this is mind control, the Mayor Maynard Jackson, who they renamed Hartsfield Jackson after, he was on TV, and I'm going to tell you who he was with on Good Morning America, ABC. Back in about 1980, just before they arrested Wayne for the murders. He and Lee Brown was the police commissioner then. And let me say this real quick. Lee Brown went on to become the police commissioner 2 or 3 times, I believe, in Houston, Texas. Also the mayor. He was the drug czar, listen to this, under Bill Clinton's administration. So, and then he keeps going on. There's other places he went, maybe back to Houston, but up to New York. So I'm telling you all this because he was one of them with Maynard Jackson that went on ABC just prior to Wayne being arrested and said, Wayne is not guilty of the crime, it's the mechanism used. Well, he didn't tell that it was mind control. This is so widespread. The use of it, let me say this, and this is true, and I'm going to quit because I've got nothing but pain and hell out of this. I don't know where my children are, Mark and Scott. I wrote the book. Larry Flint was one of them that was shot in Lawrenceville, Georgia. I had a letter from the FBI June the 23rd of 79. I had an antifreeze put in me April Fool Day of 80. Then I worked for the district attorney, illegally stuffed in a car, taken to Huntsville, and worked for the district attorney Simpson. It's then, after then, I began finding out about my kidnapping and why they wanted me dead. It wasn't just the book. Everything torture has been done to me, just like it was to my father. And I fear that I'm in jeopardy because this took. I'm going to put this in here. I'm watching TV, and yes, I did walk my shoes, and I know. They said something about Reagan just here. Everybody loves Ronald Reagan. Bloomingdale tapes. How many people died because they had the Bloomingdale tapes? Last I heard, Larry Flint had them, and they came in and started to shoot him, and I don't know if they got the tapes or not. But you should hear what's on the Bloomingdale tapes, who stayed in the White House. She did, with Nancy Reagan, and they were part of a group. Well, the Bohemian Club. I'm one of the first that started telling about the Bohemian Club. And it involved Playboy. I can't believe this. Look at them like they know nothing. This is a media controlled by the Rothschilds, Rockefellers, Bilderbergers. I can't believe they sit there. I'm here with a pair of pants. And if I'm running around, it's because I've been in hell and I'm allergic to chemicals. And they made me look like, if that's the way you chose to. Look at her. I'm going to say it again. Look at her. She gains weight and loses it overnight. Now, let me get a picture of her. Now, if I'm moving around here, bear with me. Now she's sitting down. And this was later. She looks trim this morning when you see her on TV. She can put on weight overnight, pounds, and take it off the next time. My question is there a double used? I don't know. So back to what I was saying. I hope I can get there. I'm allergic to chemicals. It's an immune disorder. And when I'm around toxic fumes, forced to inhale them, my immune system attacks itself. Well, I'd have to quit smelling it or leave if it's not fixed. And that's how I've been made to bounce around. I put all this up on prior tapes and everything, Facebook, etc. I've gone to the media. They already know it. They're not going to touch it. So I'm just going to quit if this. Larry Flint was shot. I usually put up a Hustler magazine to prove that I was out there during a political campaign in '83 to replace Dr. Congressman Larry McDonald, who I wrote about in the book, medical malpractice book, that was never published. MD, A License to Kill, living at Moonraker Apartments. Later, the movie Moonraker, which is a 007, Roger Moore, comes out a year or two later. And then A License to Kill with Timothy Dalton. And that was the only one he made, I believe, the 007. Okay, and I'm living at Moonraker Apartments. That's the name of the movie, Roger Moore. And I'm doing this book about mind control, and it even has something in there about mind control in that movie. And it has something about space and all this. But anyway, I've done all I can. I look at me, I've got I'll take that back, 2 pair of pants that need to be washed. This one's got sap on the back of my pants. It looks quite odd. It won't come out. Where I went to the forest and got beat up trying to get fresh air. And yes, I did. And you should see who beat me up. I only told the truth and was born. And for Meredith Vieira, I don't dislike her. I dislike the fact the media has covered it up because of my kidnapping, who my father is, and the Rothschilds, did I say Rothschilds, the Kennedys, John Kennedy, and they can laugh. I'm living in hell. And the media, you should go and arrest all these so-called experts. Ask them some of these questions. I'm not laughing because I feel good. It's horrible. You let me ask them some questions in front of the world and see how they answer them. They can have, what was that guy on MSNBC that interviewed Trump and no, it was Greenpeace, the person running for Greenpeace as president, representing them, I believe, are the Libertarian. He didn't know something, and man, I can't remember his name, but it really got me because he made him look like a fool. Well, what if you put the right, oh God, look at this. Tim Kaine is from here in Virginia. Oh my God, the only one up there worth a powder to be president is Trump. At least he tells the truth and he goes after him. So anyway, if this sounds a little garbled, it does upset the hell out of me that all my life has been my money come in here. You should see the crimes and the torture done to me and my children because of who we are. Look at my country. Well, this is a Mark Preston here. I won't make anything out of him. If you ever hear all this, and I'm waiting for him to come to the door and handcuff me here, because you don't hear any of the truth on here, because it would lead back to me about the mind control murders, it's the school shootings, the Aurora, Colorado, the Virginia Tech next door, the psychiatrist that went to Virginia Tech, Fort Hood shooter. Okay, I can list them going back to before 1976 when I started doing the medical malpractice book and had antifreeze put in me. You want to know what hell is? You think you've been through hell till that happens to you. And you finally live through it, and it's just ongoing, the hell that I've been put through. And then trying to tell about the illness I have is I'm allergic to chemicals. Toxic fumes. You put me in close quarters and my immune system attacks itself and shuts down. And I get very sick, and over time, if you're exposed to it, the inflammation that's caused will tear your kidneys, your lungs, and every part of your body down. So excuse me if I look up here and see them telling about Meredith, and she's got a documentary about the shooting out in Texas at the campus 50 years ago. I told about these and a list. And by the way, Mr. Flint was talking to me out when I was out there at his home in '83 in the campaign. Twice he was in Bel Air, on St. Cloud in Bel Air then, about the list. He knew all about the things. He's a person that was shot, and it was done in patterns. I'd never met him. In March the 6th of '78 in Lawrenceville, Georgia. Now, there's a whole list that's hard to prove. It's invisible, and I'll go ahead and tell you this. Scott Peterson was one of them. Mark Garagos, his attorney, I think is a good attorney, and he did what he could. Because they won't let this before court or in the media because they'd tell about me, what was done to my father, my kidnapping, that, and then the mechanism used. If you tell it, you can take down planes. The plane that carried Larry McDonald, the doctor I wrote about, congressman, U.S. congressman, August 31st of '83 that went down. And that brought me into Larry Flint's and that special election to replace him. Okay, that's what you do with an airplane. You can put the pilot under mind control, and he just wanders off into Russian airspace and is shot down with Larry McDonald on it. By the way, they had just taken Nixon, former President Nixon, off in Juneau, Alaska. So somebody knew it was going down and took him off. So I'm going to leave it here. Are they going to really let this slide by? I'm never mentioned other than somebody can come to the door and handcuff me and get away with it. And these cuties and all your media are up here lying to you, deleting. And Scott Pelley on CBS, when they say they're honest and true and fair, I want to gag.